Content warning before the video begins. Topics such as grooming, pedophilia, harassment, all that are going to be topics of discussion in today's video. This video will not be monetized, as it is for informational archival purposes, meant to educate. All statements made in this video are that of the document and then of my own opinion. I'm not making any claims. I'm not making anything. I'm just simply reading off this document and using this for informational purposes. Legal purposes. Holy shit. Not even a page into this document, and Anime Vanguards is already being sued for $7 million. Holy shit. That is fucking crazy. We're going to go into it. We're going to look through this entire document. Dude, this shit just got fucking crazy. It started about 9-10 hours ago, with all of the claims coming out, with Pyseph defending all this shit. And now this comes out. I'm like, oh my God, this is a crazy response. So we're going to read it all today. We're going to get into it. So yeah, reading all 21 pages of this document of the response given by Pyseph. Let's get into it. This statement addresses the accusations recently posted by Mid/Unrivaled, the older accusations published by Kilik, and the related claims about Anime Vanguards, UTD and UTDX, Kazi, Yorozu, Lynn, and me. Some of Mid's claims overlap with an active dispute involving Kazi and Brandon Ha from Boss Studios. They have sent a draft complaint letter, and have stated an intent to sue Yorozu and me, potentially seeking $7,128,100 US. Holy shit! If not more. Their position includes claims about ownership, payouts, Anime Vanguards' history, and alleged damages. This is a major part of the context behind this situation, and it is also why I have to be careful. The dispute is now being handled through counsel, and I'm not going to argue every legal or business detail in public, but I will address the parts that matter to Mid's public accusations and explain why his version leaves out important context. Opening. I do not know how to explain myself without feeling like I am handling more of myself to people who already decided they want to tear me apart. For months, I have watched my name get dragged through public channels like I am not a person anymore. I have watched people call me a pedophile, a racist, a liar, and worse, and then act like I am supposed to calmly defend myself while the same crowd keeps turning every part of me into something to laugh at, screenshot, mock, or twist. I keep trying to find the perfect sentence that would make people understand, but it does not exist. Anything I say becomes another thing for people to pass around, another thing to dissect, another thing to use against me. It feels like my pain has become entertainment for people who were never looking for the truth in the first place. This has not felt like drama to me. It has felt like being trapped under something that keeps getting heavier while everyone stands around watching to see how much more I can take. It pushed me to a point where I did not feel safe with myself anymore. I'm not saying that for sympathy. I'm saying it because I cannot keep pretending this is a normal online conflict. I want to make this clear. I completely deny the claims being made against me. The accusations being spread about me are false, and I will continue to be adamant about that. At the same time, I understand that the document may be shared around on its own, away from the short statement I already posted. It is the longer version. It's here to give context around the falsehoods surrounding me. I will separate the fair criticism from the false allegations. Short version. The accusations being spread are harmful and not typically classified as stereotypical drama. It's important to speak about these topics respectfully, as they include claims of grooming, pedophilia, CSAM-related product, child endangerment, abuse, theft, sabotage, and criminal behavior. These claims are false. I have made immature jokes in bad taste in the past. Some of them were uncomfortable. Some of them should not have been made. However, the evidence being put into circulation does not show grooming, pedophilia, CSAM involvement, or predatory conduct. It shows old Discord jokes being interpreted as a worst-case scenario, often with no context. I even said that. To be clear, Anime Vanguards did not sabotage UTDX. We did not solicit leaks, poach developers to destroy another game, pay anyone to sabotage a project, report or mass report UTD people's accounts, or elicit UTDX material. This was all posted publicly with no evidence backing any of their claims. Valk had legitimate relationships with UTD balancers because he worked on UTD before release, and people in the same field talking about balance ideas is not sabotage. Mid posted several accusations publicly instead of using proper safety, legal platform, or reporting channels. He amplified at least one forwarded claim that he later admitted was not verified and may have been fake. He also deleted many posts only after legal consequences became a concern, after people had already seen them. Some of the internal AV developer material mid-post is it. Wait, sorry. Whoa. I gotta zoom in here. Sorry about that. Some of the internal AV developer material mid-posted traces back to a fired developer who admitted to leaking private developer server material to Kazi. I do not currently have direct proof that Kazi personally sent it to Mid because I do not have access to Kazi/Mid side communications. However, Mid's posts closely mirrored Kazi's legal narrative and used privated AV material whose known source path leads to Kazi. That is important. Kazi and Brendan Ha from Boss Studios have sent a draft complaint letter and stated an intent to sue the two Anime Vanguard owners. No lawsuit has been filed as of May 23, 2026, I'm assuming. However, the lawyer valued English impossible. That name, sorry, alleged 20% ownership at $7,128,100 and claimed litigation exposure could go higher. That dispute is being handled through counsel and was not planned to ever be brought up publicly because we only ever wanted to make cool games for our players, but the situation forced us otherwise. Yorozu has not worked on Anime Vanguards for months. He founded AV and still controls key accounts, which limits that the team can structurally do, but he has not been treated as an active developer. Lynn's situation was also handled internally over multiple days, and she was later let go after reoccurring concerns. And evidence made it impossible not to take proper action to ensure the safety of the AV community. I accept fair criticism. However, I'm not willing to accept being branded a pedophile groomer, chasm offender, criminal theft or sabotager based on distorted screenshots and public drama, with the perpetrators acting immaturely while self-aggrandizing themselves as righteous. Why I am responding. There is a difference between saying I made immature jokes, handled a situation poorly, or failed to set good enough boundaries when I was younger, and saying I am a predator or that Anime Vanguards is built on theft and sabotage. The first category is criticism, in which a majority is fair. The second category is a set of extreme damaging allegations that require verified evidence, which has not been presented. The recent posts and documents are mixing these categories together. They take immature Discord humor, private community drama, active legal disputes, and cropped out context screenshots and present all of it as one giant evidence package that I'm a pedophile and that AV is a criminal operation. This is an This is as in one, I don't know what this is, jump to conclusions that is not backed by any evidence and built upon a tower of lies. I'm not claiming to have never said anything stupid. I have. I'm not claiming every person around AV has always behaved perfectly. They have not. Neither am I claiming that every situation was handled flawlessly. Some situations were extremely difficult and we had to make a judgment call with incomplete information. Jokes in poor taste, off-putting screenshots, messy community situations mixed with disputed business/legal claims do not in any way correlate with grooming, pedophilia, chasm involvement, game theft, or sabotage. Okay. Good accountability. Give you a thumbs up here. What I did on May 22nd, 2026. On May 22nd, 2026, Mid/Unrivaled posted a long series of public announcement messages on screenshots, and these posts accuse Anime Vanguards and me of sabotaging UTDX using leaked documents and roadmaps, stealing Anime Vanguards from Kazi, Kabore, and other owners, removing people for money, overworking people so that they could be removed, abusing developers, endangering children, protecting or tolerating predatory behavior, and needing to turn ourselves in for criminal conduct. To be clear, none of this is true. The old owners, Kobori and Jersey, I think, were removed on the grounds of having been inactive for months, taking a huge chunk of the game's revenue while refusing to lower it to pay for developers who had been working day and night. Dude. Pyseph said, "What do you mean don't have time at Kobo? Why the hell aren't you using linear? Literally, none of us know what you're doing. The last time you even set any tasks progress was 6 days ago. What are you doing?" I'm livid with Kobo at this point. He doesn't do shit. He doesn't say what he does. He doesn't say what he does. The one thing we're supposed to do, modeling, and he says doesn't have time for the fuck else is he doing if he doesn't have time? Additionally, Kazi was a part of the removal, having had direct influence in pushing for them being kicked off of Anime Vanguards. This is related to our ongoing potential lawsuit with Kazi and Boss Studios, however, and thus we cannot provide any evidence at this point. This was not reported privately or legally. Instead, it became a public campaign in announcement channels. Okay, interesting. This matters because if someone genuinely believes they have evidence of child exploitation, grooming, threats, threats, doxing, or criminal conduct, the responsible and mature thing to do is to preserve the evidence and take it to the correct channel. You should not post it for thousands of people, mix it in forwarded screenshots, delete posts when legal risks appear, and let the internet decide for an incomplete context. Oof. Yeah, UTD, you kind of all said that in announcements. Y'all got 400,000 people in there, so that's on grounds for defamation. That's not defending shit, that's just saying. Mid later acknowledged that at least one screenshot was not verified and may have been fake. Around 21:42 on May 22nd, he wrote that screenshot was fake, but the damage had already been done. People were already using the situation to spread further allegations, using unverified content to create more false rumors. Mid then acknowledged that he would refrain from posting anything that had not been verified. However, he tried to say everything else was real, but also admitted he had not been sent proof for that screenshot. Mid also mentioned that in our private developer server, one of our developers had set their profile picture to an ex-developer at AV from a year ago, who had been briefly working at UTD up until now. This is completely untrue, as in reference to our modeler, Thean, I think that's what his name is. His profile picture is this, and has been this for months. Okay. Perto with Miku. Okay. Cool. The only relevant part of this claim is that his developer server's nickname is Mina, which could be seen as mocking. However, I would like to add is that it is Kazi who sent Thean's nickname to Mina. Neither Thean nor anyone else did this on their own accord, and so such a blatant twisting of words is woefully incorrect and misrepresentative. There is a common denominator. Jesus Christ. There is a common denominator, and that a lot of these accusations were being posted before they were ever verified. The forwarded Aris claims. This is one of the clearest examples. The forwarded claim that Aris and posted. Is that supposed to say Arise? Aris? Okay. Attributed to Aris and posted another person. That forwarded message alleged that I had sexual dialogue with I'm going to assume a young female moderator, and also alleged that I paid people to threaten a modeler and the modeler's family. They are damaging claims that can greatly affect a person's life. They are also utterly false. There was no original logs attached, nor a verifiable source context. Neither was there a way for a reasonable person to check what was being alleged. It was a forwarded accusation presented to the public in the middle of an already hostile campaign of drama. The writing also reads an accusation text that was generated or reshaped to sound official while remaining vague. I am gay and exclusively into men, which makes the specific young female moderator's framing even more absurd. I am gay and exclusively into men. Oh, don't clip that out of context. I'm sorry. But the main issue is not my sexuality. It is the alleged conduct did not happen and no original evidence was provided. Mid posted it anyway, later deleting it or saying it was not verified only after the damage had already been done. Does not undo the harm. If you post unverified, blatantly untrue rumors, which anyone familiar with me or the situation immediately called out as fake, it would speak to the validity of the post. Deleted posts are not corrections. After possible legal action became a concern, Mid deleted many posts, but that does not erase what happened. The posts were public, people saw them, repeated them, and the accusations spread. Deleting them after the fact may reduce Mid's own exposure, but it will not fix the reputation damage or the emotional harm caused by posting them in the first place. This is important because the accusations weren't just about drama surrounding the game, but also involved criminal and predatory conduct. If the evidence was strong enough to post publicly, it should have been strong enough to preserve and verify before posting. If it was not verified, it should not have been posted as fact. Mid's team and proper channels. With Mid, the issue is that he used his public platform and announcement channels to broadcast accusations instead of taking them through proper channels. Developers in or under his team also pressured people around me based on the information available to me. I do not currently have proof that Mid personally sent every message or personally directed every act of pressure, but as the owner and the public face of that side of the community, he is responsible for the environment he allows his team to create and the accusations he chooses to amplify. If Mid had genuine evidence of child safety issues, threats, doxing, or criminal conduct, the proper path was not a public spectacle. Spectacle. The proper path was a platform reporting, legal reporting, preserving evidence, and a clear chain of custody. Holy shit. The leak chain. A leaking developer, Kazi and Mid. Some of Mid's posts included privated Anime Vanguard's developer server material. The known source path is that a now fired developer who had access to private AV developer server messages and admitted to leaking private developer server material to Kazi. This developer and Kazi were close friends. We do not have access to their private DMs or dev server messages, so the final handoff on their side is not something we can directly prove from our records. I'm not going to claim direct proof that I do not have. As previously stated, that would be improper and wrong. What I can say is that Mid's posts use private AV developers material whose known source path leads to Kazi. His public narrative also closely matched Kazi's legal narrative that the game was stolen, that Kazi is the rightful owner, that there is or will be litigation, and that the game should be given back. One screenshot also shows Discord's red new messages divider in the app, indicating that the screenshot was taken while the chat was active or very recent, which supports the view that the person capturing the material was screenshotting as things were being said. Not reconstructing old public information. So the established version is this. Mid's claims closely track Kazi's legal narrative and include internal AV developer material. The known source path... Holy fuck, dude. I cannot speak. The known source path is that the now fired developer had leaked private developer material to Kazi. We do not currently have direct proof of Kazi sending those materials to Mid because we do not have access to Kazi/Mid side communications, but the evidence raises a serious question about whether Mid's campaign was fueled by material passed through Kazi, who has many motives to discredit and slander us given him having been fired from Anime Vanguards. The Kazi/Boss Studios legal matter. This needs to be said clearly, because it changes the entire context of what Mid posted. Kazi and Brendan Ha from Boss Studios have sent a draft complaint letter and stated an intent to sue the two Anime Vanguard owners. No lawsuit has been filed as of May 23rd, 2026, but this is far beyond casual Discord drama. This is an active legal threat being made alongside a public narrative that Anime Vanguards was stolen and should be handed back. Their lawyer stated, based on our experts' evaluations, Hack's 20% ownership is worth $7,128,100. That same lawyer communication said litigation exposure could include disgorgement, punitive damages, and attorney fees. The $7,128,100 number was framed as a buyout valuation of Hack's hacks alleged 20% ownership, not necessarily as the ceiling of their claimed exposure theory. That matters because Mid's post did not happen in a vacuum. He repeatedly pushed the same broad narrative that AV stole the game and Kazi is the rightful owner, that Kazi is trying to get the game back, and that AV should be returned to Kazi/Kobore. Yes, Kazi/Kobore. At the same time, Mid was posting private AV developer material whose known source path traces back to the now ex-developer leaking to Kazi. I'm not going to litigate the Kazi/Boss Studios dispute through a public drama response. It involves ownership, payout, IP contribution, removal, and legal position issues that are being handled through counsel. The reason this belongs in this response at all is that Mid presented Kazi's side as the dispute as if it was already proven as fact. He claimed or implied that AV stole, in quotation marks, the game and should give it back. Those are disputed legal/business claims, not neutral facts. I will not disclose the legal strategy here. I will not argue every Kazi ownership or IP point in public. That belongs with counsel. How can you steal a game that's based off of IPs you don't own? That's my biggest question. You don't have a right to any of the characters you're using. I don't know. I guess there's a whole legal process with this that I'm not going to dive into, but $7 million is fucking crazy. Enemy Vanguards did not sabotage UTDX. Mid claimed that AV sabotaged UTDX, used leaked documents or roadmaps, poached developers, or paid people to ruin other games. That is false. Enemy Vanguards did not leak UTDX documents to let anyone to leak UTDX documents, use illicit UTDX material, poach developers to sabotage other games, threaten developers to sabotage another game, pay anyone to destroy or damage another project, or organize any campaign to ruin UTDX. We also did not tell people to report, mass report, strike, or otherwise interfere with UTDX people's accounts or platforms. That includes Discord, YouTube, and other accounts. Mid accused us of doing things to people's accounts and channels, but AV did not run or encourage any account reporting campaign against UTDX or its people. The real context is much more ordinary. Valk, our balancer, worked on UTD before release and helped balance the game. He is friends with He is friends with UTDX balancers talking to one another, sharing ideas, comparing design decisions, and understanding what makes another game successful is normal in this space. It is not sabotage. Mid appears to be claiming AV used UTDX balancing material and future planned update information. The only person on our side described as having access to that kind of information, that kind of material, was Valk because of his prior legitimate work and relationships. That does not mean AV leaked, stole, or solicited confidential material. Our updates have been planned for months ahead, and as such, claiming that we copy update schedules is blatantly a lie. Okay, and this is cool. November 11th. Our 12.0 and our 4.0 planners were made before UTD even released. My UTD comments were completely analysis, not sabotage. Some of my public UTD comments look argumentative or defensive in isolation. I understand why they can look worse when clipped. My actual mindset was not attack UTD for no reason. Since I was a preteen, I have a habit of arguing against opposing positions to understand them better. If another side is succeeding, I want to know why. I want to understand why people defend it, what they think it does well, where my own view may be wrong, and what lessons can be brought into my own work. UTD's success made it important to study what made it work. That led to arguments, comparisons, and criticism. Some of those comments were defensive, some were blunt, and some were immature. They were not, however, evidence of some operation plan to sabotage UTD. There is a huge difference between debating why a competitor is succeeding and secretly paying people to destroy another project. This was all in either our private dev server or me chatting with random people in the Gen 2 channel of our Discord server, which is closed off for higher roles. I did not ping people en masse to see it, instead only talking about it passerby. The Yorozu issue. Excuse me. The Yorozu is and always has been the sole owner of Anime Vanguards. He created the game, and it is all under his Roblox accounts and emails, which limits what the team can structurally do. We cannot simply erase his account ownership or pretend he was never connected to the game. That does not mean he has been actively... this does not mean he has been actively working on AV. Yorozu has not worked on Anime Vanguards for months. The team specifically kept it that way because his behavior, communication style, and past remarks were a liability. We were aware that his personality and humor were on the edgier side and that he would say extreme things even if he did not mean them. Many of our players even noticed Yorozu's lack of of activity, commenting in it in our server, which we never made any official responses to because there was no reason to. Simply, I'm not defending every edgy or offensive thing Yorozu ever said. I'm saying Mid's framing collapses old conduct, account ownership, founder history, current developer status, and AV responsibility into one misleading accusation. In fact, in private, I had always berated Yorozu for being too edgy and immature. The accurate version is that Yorozu created AV. The game is under his accounts, and he remains the sole account owner. He has not worked on AV for months. The team kept him away because he was a liability. I do not know what Mid is referring to with Yorozu claim beyond what had already been addressed to the team's knowledge, but known issues were already handled to the extent of the team's knowledge. The Lynn situation. The Lynn situation was serious, complicated, and painful. Lynn was exposed for alleged behavior that was concerning. At the same time, the situation was extremely muddy. The person who exposed Lynn had serious credibility and abuse issues of their own, including allegations of grooming, pressure, and threats. Because of that, the situation was not one where we could responsibly treat one-sided document as automatically clean and complete. We gave Lynn the benefit of the doubt initially because they seemed fair with the information available at the time. We spoke extensively with Lynn over several days. Lynn cooperated and responded in detail, which reduced concerns at the time. But as the document and themes kept reappearing, we painfully decided to let Lynn go. Even if parts of the situation were disputed or muddy, the reoccurring pattern made it impossible to ignore as a liability. We did not try to take action beyond that ourselves. The situation was too complicated, muddy, and uncertain for us to pretend we could fully educate everything what happened between the people involved. What we could do and what we eventually did was make an internal decision that Lynn could no longer remain on the team. This is difficult to discuss publicly because it involves private people, minor-related issues, disputed claims, and third-party conduct. I am not going to repost private or identifying material here. The important point is that this was not ignored. It was investigated internally to the extent we could responsibly investigate it, discussed extensively, and eventually resulted in Lynn being removed. That removal was the action we were in the position to take. Other than the Lynn-related situation, I am not aware of any minor being directly contacted, sexualized, asked for images, or targeted by AV staff. Also, none of this was reported to Discord, Roblox, parents, law enforcement, or platform safety teams by Mid before he decided to make public accusations. If Mid believed he had evidence of child safety issues, public announcement drama was not the proper first step. My response to the pedophilia accusations. The accusations against me rely on treating bad jokes as if they were proof or predatory intent. I did not groom anyone. I did not solicit minors. I did not request, search for, possess, or distribute CSAM. I did not create a server to prey on minors. That said, I understand that some old jokes were immature, edgy, or poor in taste, and I also understand that in the mixed age online spaces need better boundaries than many Discord communities had at the time. I'm not trying to defend every joke as acceptable. I'm saying those jokes are not evidence that I am a predator. The real questions should be simple. Was anyone privately targeted? Was anyone isolated from a group? Was anyone sexually solicited? Was anyone pressured or coerced? Was anyone asked to send sexual images? Was CSAM requested, searched for, possessed, or distributed? The answer is no. Femboy Sanctuary was not my grooming server. One repeated claim is that Femboy Sanctuary was a server I owned, operated, or used to groom minors. That is false. I was never the owner of Femboy Sanctuary. I was only an admin for a brief period because the server had a shortage of staff. It was a personal/social Discord server, not an Anime Vanguard server, and not a work server. I also left the server specifically because I started working on Anime Vanguards. I did not want unnecessary drama from a personal Discord space bleeding into my professional work. That matters because the accusations depend on betraying the server as if it was my platform for misconduct. It was not. The server included a broad range, approximately 13 to 20. In hindsight, understand why mixed-aged online spaces need careful boundaries, especially in communities with edgy humor or personal topics. But mixed-age membership does not prove grooming. It does not make me the owner or operator of that server. I did not use that server to target, isolate, solicit, or groom minors. Public jokes are being reframed as predatory conduct. Many screenshots are being used against me and are public channel joke. Some were immature, some edgy, and some should not have been made. How you guys doing? My God. What a fucking day. Excuse me. Continuing. But they were jokes in public chats, not private grooming material. The accusations repeatedly rely on the worst possible readings of messages that were obviously part of Discord humor culture at the time. That does not mean every joke was good. It means the leap from bad joke to predator is unsupported. There is a difference between a bad joke, an inappropriate public question, an edgy meme, and actual grooming. The documents and posts attacking me blur those categories on purpose. The Mr. Rhino screenshot. One screenshot shows me pinging Mr. Rhino and asking, I need to know this in the name of science. Are you queer? That message was immature and intrusive, and I should not have asked it that way. But calling it predatory is a severe mischaracterization. I sent it in a public Discord channel there was no private follow you. I did not know Mr. Rhino's age. I did not ask for sexual information. I did not flirt with him. I did not attempt to isolate him. I did not move the conversation to DMs. The question was about a topic people in the community were already joking/speculating about. Many people, even under his own YouTube comments, asked the exact same questions as part of jokes in his community. I just tried making the same jokes to poke fun at it like everyone else did. It is insane to call this grooming or predatory behavior. The don't provoke me screenshot. Another screenshot frames don't provoke me message as it had some darker meaning. It does not. It was a meme/persona joke. I was joking as if I were a dramatic, scary alpha male, in quotation marks, type character, which is why I sent a wolf image. That joke was obvious sarcasm in context, especially because my presentation in that space was feminine/femboy. It was not a sexual threat, flirtation, or grooming. It was a cringe joke. Treating it as anything more than that is blatantly dishonest, as anyone who has been on Discord for more than a month can tell you. My age and timeline manner. My birthday is July 29th, 2005. This means I was 17 before July 29th, 2023, 18 on August 2nd, 2023, and 19 on September 10th, 2024. My prior response included screenshots showing that my birthday was consistently stated as June 19th. Those screenshots do not show me lying about my age. They show the same birthday repeated in different formats. When discussing things I said as a teenager, the timeline matters. A 17-year-old making inappropriate jokes can be criticized. It should not automatically be reframed as an adult predator targeting children. This isn't a blanket excuse. This is basic context. My past relationship. Sorry, I said that twice. The accusations also try to frame my past relationship as evidence of pedophilia, which is blatantly untrue. This is a close in age teenage relationship, not an adult pursuing a child. In my prior response, I explained that we began talking on June 22nd and we were flirting by June 24th, before my birthday on June 29th. That means I was still 17 at that point. If the relationship later continued when I was 18 and he was 16, that does not make the claim pedophilia accurate. Because it's not. It's a 2-year fucking age gap. I'm not naming my ex publicly because I do not want him harassed or dragged back into this. The accusation depends on inflating the age gap and ignoring the actual timeline. The, quote, younger meme claim. Some claims say I've stated multiple times that I like younger people or even 10 years younger. This is being framed as if it was as if it was a sincere sexual or romantic preference. It was not. The context is that this is an extremely obvious, extremely edgy, and extremely cringe internet joke. The phrase and style were part of meme culture, not a confession or a statement of intent. Know Your Meme has an entry for the "I like 'em younger, as young as possible" catchphrase, describing it as Danganronpa related meme / category or catchphrase that spread on TikTok and was used in parody context. That does not make the joke good. It was bad judgment. It was edgy humor that should not have been used, especially in a mixed age Discord environment, and especially with a platform I have now. But the accusations depends on pretending that But the accusation depends on pretending the joke was literal. It was not. It was not a real dating preference, a statement of intent, or expression of attraction to minors. I did not pursue, solicit, or groom minors because of that joke. The Kazi accusation. The accusation that I searched for, requested, possessed, or distributed Kazi is false. The screenshot being used was an edgy meme / reference. It was in poor taste and should not have been made. I can acknowledge that without accepting the lie that it was evidence of an actual Kazi search. This style of joke was a known internet meme format. There was entire internet communities built around the same absurdist trope, including Reddit cheese pizzeria, which shows how common the format was and still is. I'm not mentioning that to defend the taste of the joke. I'm mentioning it to explain the context. This was a known absurdist meme format, not evidence that I was looking for chasm. This was also long before I worked on Anime Vanguards. At the time, I treated it as edgy. I get a drink. My throat is so dry. Hold on. Eat an apple a day to get the docs away, they said. It doesn't work. I've done it. It doesn't work. Continuing. This was also long before I worked on Anime Vanguards. At the time, I treated it as an edgy internet joke, not as something anyone would read as a serious statement. As I got older and entered more visible position, I understood that posting that kind of joke was no longer just edgy humor. It was irresponsible, uncomfortable, and not something I should put into public or mixed age spaces. That is why I stopped making those kind of jokes. Kazi is horrific. I did not search for it, request it, possess it, distribute it, or engage with it. I did not defend jokes about Kazi as good or acceptable. I'm reflecting the attempt to turn an immature meme reference into an allegation of an actual crime. There was no NSFW channel accessible to minors. Another claim is that there was a general chat with explicit underage NSFW images or an NSFW channel accessible to minors. I deny that. There was no NSFW channel accessible to minors, and the way described, I did not create one. I did not authorize one. I did not use one to expose minors to explicit content. The accusation is serious and factual. The answer is equally factual. I did not run or use a channel for minors to access explicit or underage NSFW material. Non-explicit personal pictures were misrepresented. Some screenshots reference pictures such as thigh-high photos and try to frame them as sexual contact. The images I addressed previously were not nude. They were not explicit. They were not Kazi. People wearing thigh highs or sitting outside on a bench is not automatically sexual content. I did not post explicit material to minors by sharing non-nude, non-explicit personal images. Search counts for the word minor prove nothing by themselves. One argument relies on a search count for the word minor. Search result counts are not evidence by themselves. In a server where people discuss age, rules, accusations, moderation, safety, or who is allowed in certain spaces, the word minor can appear many times for non-predatory reasons. What matters is the context of the messages and whether they show actual misconduct. A search count does not prove grooming, sexual solicitation, Kazi involvement, or predatory intent. Staff deleting messages during a raid was not me hiding. Evidence. My prior response addressed this, but it keeps being reframed. Kilik and others entered Femboy Sanctuary in a way that people on the server understood as a raid. Some staff deleted messages because they believed the server was being raided and because they did not want members harassed. I did not instruct staff to delete evidence, nor did I encourage any of them to do so. In fact, I specifically tried to warn not to delete messages while I was explaining the situation elsewhere internally, and dealing with having been harassed and pulled into 50 group chats for the purpose of being harassed and bullied. The fact that staff reacted defensively to what looked like a raid is not proof I was hiding misconduct. Moderating harassment is not proof of guilt. Another claim is that moderation against people discussing the allegation proves guilt. It does not. A Discord server is not required to allow repeated harassment, spam raids, or defamatory accusations. If people were muted or removed, that was moderation against disruption and harassment, not an admission to the accusations were true. People can discuss serious issues without joining unrelated servers, harassing members, spamming accusations, and trying to turn private spaces into public battlegrounds. The Kilik and Maui context. The situation did not start in a vacuum. Kilik previously made videos trying to accuse me after I called out Sensei Maui for serious I've heard that name before. That name sounds familiar. Why did I just get a flashback? To accuse me after I called out Sensei Maui for serious misconduct. My earlier response explained that Kilik claimed I knew all along about Maui, relying heavily on a misinterpreted DM from someone who later clarified privately that his word had been twisted. I did not research the Maui situation. I asked around. I confronted Maui multiple times. At the time, I was a teenager working extreme hours under unhealthy conditions. I began working for Maui when I was around 15. I had school from early morning until the evening, then worked into the early hours of the morning, often sleeping only a few hours. I am not saying that as an excuse for everything I did or failed to. I am saying it because it explains the conditions I was operating under as a teenager. I did the best I could with the information and energy I had. I did not knowingly protect Maui from the start. My earlier response also explained that Payne, an investor/colleague I trusted at the time, repeatedly reassured or pressured me in ways that affected me how I understood the Maui situation. I later learned more about Payne as well, which changed how I viewed the entire period. The point is not that I handled everything perfectly. I did not. The point is that Kilik's framing that I knew all along is false. Kilik's harassment was not a good faith safety report. Kilik did not handle this like someone acting through proper safety channels. He set his profile picture to my face using images from my Instagram. He harassed me publicly and privately. He repeatedly told me to kill myself. He pursued people connected to me wherever he could find them, including people who were not related and did not deserve to be dragged into this. I stopped engaging with Kilik because it was damaging my mental health and because I had already tried reasoning with him. There was no productive path left. The only reason others entered a group chat with Kilik was because they knew how badly the situation was affecting me and wanted it to end amicably. I think I said that right. That is not how a good faith safety concern should work. If the issue is genuine child safety, the proper path is to preserve evidence and report it, not to raid unrelated communities, set a person's face as your profile picture, target their friends, and escalate public humiliation. Kilik's own conduct was reported. In my earlier response, I also raised separate concerns about Kilik's own conduct, including public sexualized writings involving a minor character, threats, doxing/blackmail behavior towards staff, and hateful remarks. Oh my God. Whoa. All right. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm not republishing graphic material here. The relevant evidence was preserved and sent to appropriate safety channels at the time. The point is, this statement is simple. Kilik was a neutral safety reporter. He was an active participant in harassment and public escalation. Mid's campaign repeats the same pattern. Mid's May 22nd campaign repeats the same basic pattern. Serious accusations were posted publicly, screenshots were cropped or forwarded without original context, claims were phrased as fact before verification, private people were dragged into conflict or public conflict, posts were deleted after legal risk appeared, and proper channels were bypassed. Even if Mid personally believed some of what he posted, belief is not enough when the accusations is that people are predators, criminals, abusers, or thieves, or a public figure has a responsibility to verify first. What I take responsibility for. I do not want this response to sound like I am refusing all criticism. I take responsibility for the edgy jokes. Thank you. I take responsibility for the edgy jokes that should not have been made. Being too casual in mixed-age public spaces, asking intrusive questions as jokes, failing to maintain the level of professionalism people now expect from someone in my position, not setting boundaries either, and sometimes responding to conflict in ways that were too defensive or combative. Those are fair criticisms. They do not make me a groomer, pedophile, chasm offender, predator, thief, or sabotager. What I reject the claims that I groom minors, created or operated a server to prey on minors, solicited minors, searched for Chasm, requested Chasm, possessed or distributed Chasm, used non-explicit images as sexual misconduct, or had a close in-age teenage relationship that somehow proves pedophilia. I also reject the claims that anime vanguards leaked or solicited UTD, UTDX material, paid people to sabotage another game, poached developers to destroy UTD, UTDX, or that Mid's public version of the Kazi dispute is a proven fact. Those claims are false, unsupported, and materially misleading. What should have happened instead? If Mid, Kilik, or anyone else believed they had evidence of serious misconduct, the responsible path was to preserve the original evidence, avoid posting private or identifying information publicly, report child safety issues to proper platform or legal channels, contact counsel if the issue was legal/business related, avoid encouraging harassment, avoid posting unverified forwarded accusations, and clearly correct false claims if a mistake was made. That is not what happened. Instead, allegations were turned into public entertainment, factional game drama, and reputation warfare. My request to the community: do not harass anyone involved. And that includes Mid, Kilik, Kazi, Yorozu, Lynn, AV developers, UTD, UTDX developers, and anyone else who's been dragged into this. The situation already involves too many people being pulled into public accusations. More harassment will not fix anything. If you believe there is real misconduct, use proper reporting channels. If you are evaluating public claims, ask for original context, dates, ages, full logs, and evidence that supports the conclusion being drawn. Do not treat cropped screenshots, forwarded messages, deleted posts, or legal accusations as automatic truth. That is true. That is true. Closing. I understand that people may look at some old messages and think that they were immature, uncomfortable, or inappropriate. I can accept that criticism. I have grown since then, and I would handle mixed age online spaces differently now. What I will not accept is having those messages reframed into accusations that I am a groomer, pedophile, or someone involved with Chasm. What I will not accept is having anime vanguards accused of organized sabotage based on normal competitive analysis, prior balance of relationships, and unsupportive claims. What I will not accept is active legal/business disputes being presented to thousands of people as if one side's allegations are already proven facts. This statement is my attempt to separate fair criticism from false accusation. Serious allegations should be handled with evidence, context, and proper channels. They should not be used as weapons in game drama. Wow. What a fucking document. Okay. So yeah. I'll go ahead and say now, I think this was a really good response, and I do agree with a lot of things that were said in this document. I will say threatening legal action against the person who was trying to make a deal out of Lynn is a little shady. Like, why would you threat legal action out off of that? That doesn't make sense to me. Maybe because they were bringing it up to AV and they were trying to be like, hey, we're trying to handle this. I'm not sure. So no, yeah, I mean, I think this was a good response overall. I do think that some of the claims were kind of stretched, at least in those two documents that I read earlier. So, I think making the bold claims that he does make valid points that these were all in public channels. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt here. And I will be like, yeah, I mean, they were in public channels and nothing was really shown privately. But, unless if something does come out that is, private, so far these are kind of all just stale, out of context screenshots. So yeah, that'll do it all. If you watched it all, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video, and I will update you guys if anything changes. See ya.